Okay, if there's one question I get asked the most in Pokemon Go on this channel, it's probably how much money do you spend in the game, Dax? But if there's a second question that I get asked the most, it's definitely what do you think about cheating? What are your thoughts on cheating in Pokemon Go? So today in this YAP session, we're gonna go in depth, my thoughts, everything I think about cheating, what is good, what is bad. Yes, there is some good to it. I don't know if good is the correct thing, but anyway, this is an interesting, sensitive subject, so I've taken some time to think about how I want to relay this to you guys, but I think I have, I don't know if I think I have, but I'm just going to share my thoughts. So anyway, welcome to a YAP session. Hopefully you guys are doing well, and I'm excited to get into this one because this has been a long requested episode. It is boiling out today. It's been boiling in Ottawa for the last couple of days. I don't know where you guys are from. Wherever you're from, let me know, and let me know how the temperature's been, because we've just been getting this crazy heat wave, but I guess we have to appreciate it because sooner it's going to be insanely cold once the winter comes around. But nonetheless, hit the timestamps below if you want to check out the actual topics. First, a little update on Pokédaxi, how we're doing. Life is good. Double thumbs up for Pokédaxi. Little update, I will be going to Vancouver City Safari. I don't know if I've talked about that before, but if you're going to be in Vancouver, that is the city safari I've chosen. A lot of people are like going to Cancun, blah, 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 but I'm Canadian. If you don't know, I'm from Ottawa, Canada, and we've only ever had one event. It was, I think, 2019 Montreal City Safari. I forget the exact year. But since then, there hasn't been an event, and I've been waiting for an event in Canada for the longest time. So the fact that Vancouver, Canada, is getting an event, I am so excited. So I will be there. If you will be in Vancouver, let me know. I'm excited to see you. Definitely going to do a meetup, probably a meetup with Tony TM, so a little combo meetup. Stay tuned for that. Obviously, videos. I'm also probably going to try to live stream one whole day. So if you can't make it out, stay tuned because we're going to be live streaming the whole day. So anyway, should be exciting. I am actually here. So funny enough, the reason I chose this location to talk about this, I think it was 7 years ago in this exact spot is where I first encountered a spoofer. No, not 7 years ago. I wasn't playing 7 years ago. It was probably like 3-4 years ago. If you don't know, I used to stream. I still stream. We actually just brought back streaming. Let me know what you think of it. But I used to stream Raid Hour here at Center Point Theater every single Wednesday. And we would play raids, do a bunch of raids. And then one time when I was streaming the raid, I joined a lobby and I saw Pokédaxi 1 join, Pokédaxi 2 and Pokédaxi 3 join. And it was just a lobby full of, I guess, my minions? I don't even know how to say it. And that was the first time I actually encountered a spoofer in person. So I thought it would be pretty fitting to come back here and have this conversation. Because, yeah, this is where I guess spoofing's always been a thing, and I've always known it's a thing, but I've never encountered one until I came here. So anyway, we're going to dive right into it. I can already see my camera is about to overheat, so I'm going to need to find some shade for today. We're going to be in the shade. And yeah, let's get into Pokédaxi's thoughts about spoofing. Okay, so first off, I'm sure there are some people who are sitting down to watch this episode and being like, Dax, I don't even know what you're talking about. What is this word spoofing? Like spoof, like spoofing, joking around? Like, what does the word spoof even mean? It's joking, right? Like you spoof something off? I think of spoonful for some reason. What is this word spoonful you're talking about? But I'm going to get into it. We're going to break down what cheating is exactly, so then we can decide, I don't want to say decide, because I don't know if there's like a black and white term here, but we can get a better idea of what it is and why it could be bad and all that stuff. So, terms of service. This is still on the Niantic webpage. People keep going back and forth. I'm pretty sure Scopely has taken over Pokemon Go. However, I don't think a lot of things have been updated. Like the app still has the Niantic logo. The Niantic logo is still everywhere. And I'm guessing this acquisition, because if you don't know, a company bought out the company that owned Pokemon Go, or not bought out, but bought the game from them. So now, anyway, this is the Niantic help shift. This is like the official page, the terms of service. It says Niantic, but I'm pretty sure it still applies, unless for some reason Scopely just said there's no more rules. You know, maybe Dems the rules. Maybe they just remove the rules. Imagine they just want chaos. Anyway, okay. Our main priority for Pokemon Go is to provide a fair, fun, safe experience for all players. With that goal in mind, we take action against players who violate the Pokemon Go terms of service and the trainer guidelines. This includes, but is not limited to, promoting or engaging in harassment against any group or individual. Interesting that they do this, and 100% I could see you getting banned for this, but it's like one of those things that, like, there's no way they could know. Not saying you do it, don't do this, obviously, like, be a nice person, but, like, it's not really an in-game thing. Like, do they have like a microphone so they know if you're saying mean things? I don't know. Falsifying location, which is the definition of spoofing. So if you don't know what spoofing is, it's changing your GPS location based on where you are, but teleporting to somewhere in the world. Pokemon Go is a GPS-based game. So when I'm here in Ottawa sitting on this cement, I don't even know if this is a chair or not, but I'm using it as a chair. I could be pretending to be in, like, I don't know, Hawaii or something, and my player is in Hawaii even though I'm here. So that is kind of what the idea of spoofing is. It involves all sorts of intricacies, and usually you have to pay to do it, and but that is what it is. Using emulators or modified unofficial software, so that also goes into spoofing, because different apps can do different things and automate your game, and all sorts of, pretty much make it so you don't have to play the game. And or accessing Pokemon Go clients or backends in an unauthorized manner, including through the use of third-party softwares and add-ons. So yeah, pretty much just everything that's like software hacking, cheating, like a lot of software pretty much changes. So that is kind of what the idea of cheating is in Pokemon Go. That is what it is. What am I saying? What it is. That is what it is. Yes, that is what it is, Dax. But we're going to get into it, and I want to say right now, and I'm going to say this blanket statement, I do not think you should cheat in Pokemon Go. I do not think it is a good thing. I do not think you should cheat in life at all. When I think of cheating in Pokemon Go, I think of getting ahead in an unhonest and an unfair way. And not only do I not think it's good overall, actually the main reason I think it's not good overall is because of what it does to yourself. If people cheat through life and cheat through games, it creates a habit of thinking it's okay to do that. And like, if you think about it, and it's not an exact comparison, but cheating in a game is being unfair and getting an advantage in an unfair way. If you think about it, stealing in the real world is again, it's not an exact comparison, but it's still the same concept of getting an unfair way and not following like the rules of society. And I guess we could get into like, should there be rules? Should everyone, like, that's political. But it's still like, the rules are set this way and you think that you're above the rules. You know what I mean? And it creates this habit. So I do not think it's good for that reason. However, I do think, and something I've been trying to do and I think everybody should do, is to always have an open mind, an open perspective, and see, why do people cheat? What's the reasoning for people to cheat? And maybe, I guess, I don't want to say there could be some good in it, but there could be some validity and some reasons on why people do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but I do think it's good to have an open perspective and not just say, blanket statement, cheating is bad. If Niantic, Scopely now, ever does want to fix the cheating problem we have in Pokemon Go, because cheating has been a thing in Pokemon Go pretty much since the start of the game. I don't know when the first spoofing app came out, but like, it's been a huge issue. And I've seen the comments, again, thousands of times when people get frustrated about cheaters, and Niantic have never been able to grip and get a hold on the cheating issue in the game. And like, most video games, there's always going to be cheaters. There's always going to be people ahead of the curve that are able to figure out, you know, how to cheat, you know. But like, if you compare to other games, and I don't like comparing to Fortnite, but I think to Fortnite, they have a decent handle on who is cheating and who isn't, and making sure people who do cheat get banned right away. You know what I mean? But it seems like a lot of cheating in Pokemon Go can go undetected and kind of just, and just like unpunished. And that's when issues start to come, because that's when more people see, oh, we're not getting punished to play this way. Why don't we just continue to play this way? But anyway, today I want to break down why people cheat, how Niantic could solve cheating, and my overall thoughts on reasons on why people cheat. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to go right into it with the number one reason people cheat in Pokemon Go. And it's honestly just a core issue that Pokemon Go has. And this is the number one reason on why I think it's good to have an open perspective, is because of the play areas in Pokemon Go are not at a baseline fair. So let me explain. Call of Duty. I don't know why I keep thinking of, let me think of Animal Farm. I've never referenced Animal Farm before. If you play Animal Farm, shout out to you. But let's say you start playing Animal Farm, okay? Everybody spawns in the same area on the Animal Farm map. I've actually never played Animal Farm, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure everybody spawns in the same map, gets the same area to start in, gets all the same resources, blah, blah, blah. Everybody starts on an even playing field, okay? In Pokemon Go, that is not the case at all. Everybody spawns in at different locations. I spawn in Ottawa. You're spawning in I don't know, New York maybe, if you're from New York and you're watching this. Maybe somebody spawns in from a rural town in, I don't know, Cambodia. That's Cambodia, wherever. The play areas that we're gonna spawn into are not gonna be fair. You know what I mean? It's not all gonna be the same level playing field. So everybody, if you think about it, I don't wanna say it emulates life, but it kind of does, in which life is just unfair, and some people have advantages and life is gonna be easier. Some people have disadvantages and life is gonna be harder. But that's kind of the same thing as Pokemon Go. Like, everybody is spawning in at different levels and different areas. And this is why people cheat, is because of the fact that the game at its base is not fair. Not everybody starts in the same playing field. Now, I do think part of Pokemon Go that makes it special is that fact. Like, the reason Pokemon Go is special is because everybody's play area is different, and when you go and you travel to a new area, you're experiencing a completely new map, a completely new area that maybe no one's ever experienced in the way you're about to experience it. You know what I mean? Like, the first time I went to New York, no one's gonna like have those feelings come up of, oh my God, look how many Pokestops are here, and look how many gyms, and oh my God, you know, I don't know, I just found a Dragonite or something. Like, that's my experience, and that's what makes the game special, is like those, you know, when you get to venture, I like to say, like, venture out of your hometown and go to different areas. However, at the same time, I have to know, and most people know, that this is not an experience for everybody. Not everybody in the world gets to go to New York, gets to go here. Not like, traveling is not a feasible thing for most people. So obviously it creates a different playing field. So this is where the political side of it comes in, but that is a big reason on why people cheat, is because they want to create an even playing field in the game where they can play to, I guess, the highest level of Pokemon Go. Like, they can play in Tokyo, they can play in New York, where, you know, statistically, you will collect the most amount of Pokeballs because there's the most amount of Pokestops. Or statistically, you will have the highest chance of finding the best IV, blah, blah, blah. So that is a reason why people cheat. Do I think it's a good reason on why people cheat? You know, this is one of those reasons where it's like, again, I don't want to point fingers at cheaters. I guess this is something I really wanted to regurgitate during this video. Is like, I don't think you should cheat, but am I going to go around and being like, user 854 or Johnny Test? Shout out to Johnny Test. If you used to watch that show, that was a banger back in the day. Let's say your username was Johnny Test. It'd be crazy if somebody's username was Johnny Test. Let's say Johnny Test is cheating and I catch him cheating and he's spoofing over to New York. Bro, it's not my job as a player to go around reporting people for cheating. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't sign up to play Pokemon Go. I didn't even sign up to become a YouTuber. A lot of people are like, this is something I've been kind of debating with recently, is like, as a YouTuber, as a public facing figure, is it my job to make the game better? Like, yes, I will go out of my way, and if somebody gives me an idea, I'll pass it on to Niantic, because I do have, you know, access to people at Niantic, and I can pass that on. But also, at the end of the day, I didn't sign up for this job. I signed up for this job to make content and make people enjoy content. I didn't sign up for this job to become a warden of Pokemon Go, somebody who's just passing on information to Niantic on how they could improve the game. I will do that, but at the end of the day, it's not my job, you know what I mean? And same thing with calling out cheaters. Like, that's not my job, and it's not your job either. Like, so again, when we go to the issue of people spoofing in Pokemon Go because they're in a rural area, I like to point fingers at Niantic. This is like, look, I don't think you should do it, but do I understand why people do it? 100%. And this is where, like, you can point fingers at Niantic, in which this problem could be solved, because, like, sorry, I'm getting all riled up right now. No. I just think that, like, when people are trying to solve issues in Pokemon, in the whole world, like, let's say somebody has, like, anxiety, or somebody has, like, I don't know, different sorts of issues, anxiety, you know, I don't know where I'm going with. Let's just go with anxiety. Anyway, the way you solve anxiety, the way you solve most of these issues, most things in life, and obviously, you know, you can't blanket statement anything, but, like, you go to the core issue of why it's happening. Why are you anxious? Are you anxious because as a child, you know, you were neglected? Or like, I don't want to get deep into therapy, but like if you dive into the past and you find out why you're anxious, you understand that better, and then you work on ways of solving that issue. You got to know why you are the way you are before you fix that issue. The same thing goes with spoofing. Like, why are people spoofing in Pokemon Go? Yes, Niantic could go ahead and just be like, okay, we're just going to ban people that are spoofing. But what they could do that would be better is solve the reasons on why people are spoofing in the first place. So if Niantic were to add things like one-time Pokestops that, you know, rural players can use, or increase spawns in rural areas, you know what I mean? Like, or like, I don't know, add like just different features that could, like, I'm sure you guys have thousands of ideas, people who are in rural areas that are watching this, but like different features that could make it so people don't feel like they need to spoof to better play areas and can get a good experience in wherever they live. That is the core issue here, and that is the reason on why people are spoofing for that one reason. So if Niantic were to go ahead and fix that problem, it would help. Let's get on to reason number 2 on why people spoof. Dangerous or temperature-based areas. This is something I've heard a lot of, and a lot of people mention to me about it, but like, look, the world is not a safe place everywhere. There is a lot of areas in the world where you cannot go outside, and, you know, like even my thumbnail designer here on the channel will, you know, he's from Ukraine, and obviously there's a war going on in Ukraine, so I can't imagine what it's like to play Pokemon Go in a war-torn country when, you know, you can't take for granted a walk, just a simple 30-minute walk outside. Like, that is not always safe to do depending on the situation. So this creates a reason on why people literally can't even play this game because they can't go outside. Now, this is the one, and temperature is another thing. Like, I went to India earlier this year. It was March, it was like winter, and it was still like 35 degrees outside. Playing Pokemon Go outside for more than an hour or 2 at a time was like dangerous. It was literally dangerous because like you could get heat stroke, you can get, you know, all this stuff. And like, obviously, you know, there's workarounds to the temperature. You could find a mall, you could find shaded areas, you could drink a lot of water. But still, there's situations, even in like Ottawa, for example, in the winter, if you take it to the opposite end of things, like we usually play in the car in the winter because it's snowy outside and minus 30 degrees and our phones just die. Now again, I don't think this is a reason enough to cheat and to spoof, and if you can make it work, you can make it work. Like, for example, in the winter, I don't spoof. I don't say, just because it's snowy outside, I'm not gonna not go outside and spoof. Obviously, I might not be the best example because I'm a YouTuber, it's my job. But like still, I know plenty of people who don't have any ties to Pokemon Go and could easily cheat, but they still decide to go outside. And I think this goes back to, again, like what the value inside you is. But anyway, where was I? So yeah, the war-torn country. So this is like the number one thing where like, it's a hard sell because at the end of the day, like, is it up to Niantic to solve the wars and the conflicts of the world so that less people cheat? You know what I mean? Like, is it up to Niantic or Scopely? Not really. Like, it's not. Oh, there's a cop zooming right by. That guy, bro, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes the thing about cops, and I don't want to shout them out, but like, I swear they break the laws more than us with how fast they drive. I swear to God. But anyway, like, it's not up to them to solve those issues. So I feel like this is the one where like, it's kind of a weird gray area where like, again, I don't think you should cheat just because like you can't go outside and play the game. And it's like not safe for you to do. But also, I could see how Niantic could try to get involved and maybe in like, you know, countries that are going through issues like that, give them extra bonuses, give them extra accessibility bonuses or ways they can play Pokemon Go from home better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you could, for example, like, I don't know if they could do this, but like increase, like, let's say you're in a country that's currently ongoing, like a issue, adding, you know, some sort of like that country, if you're in that country, you can do 20 remote raids. And obviously, like, you know, obviously some people are going to take advantage of this in a bad way and take advantage of it. But if that would help the local people who live there, who are already going through a tough time, who aren't able to go outside and play Pokemon Go, play the game, I don't see why they don't do that. Like, add special bonuses for countries that are going through those issues. So I think that would be cool. I also think part of this is just like, it always goes back to the debate. And this is like an overall debate too of this whole concept of like, is Pokemon Go for everybody? You know what I mean? Like, most video games can be played by everybody. You know, anyone can play, anyone can buy any video game and play it. However, Pokemon Go is in that weird area where it's a political game and there's so, like, it interacts with the real world. So it then begs the question, is Pokemon Go for everybody? You know what I mean? Like, if your country is a war-torn country currently going through conflict, you know, is there much they can do about that? You know what I mean? Like, or is it just you have to wait for the conflict to rise out, and while you're waiting, go play Pokemon Scarlet or Violet or a different Pokemon game, something that can be done from safety. Again, I don't have an answer to that question, but it does segue perfectly into reason number 3 on why people cheat in Pokemon Go. We are still recording, right? Imagine we weren't. I would have just spoofed myself. Just kidding. Don't clip me. Please don't clip me. I feel like I say too many things that can be taken completely out of context on these, but anyway, accessibility issues. So this is why I'm saying, like, is Pokemon Go for everybody? Because it always comes up with this whole concept of accessibility. So accessibility is pretty much like, how accessible is something to somebody? And again, going back to any other video game, there's probably a couple out there that aren't as accessible, but any other video game are mostly accessible. Anyone with money, like, obviously I guess like money is an accessibility barrier, but anyone with money can go buy a PS5 and go buy, you know, Legend ZA, or like, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with new games. Dead by Daylight. Shout out to Dead by Daylight. If you play that game, if you don't know that game, I'm just gonna say right now, it is a crazy game where there's somebody is the killer and 4 people are survivors, and the killer hunts the survivors. It's a lot of fun if you're the killer. If you're the survivors, it's the scariest thing of your life. Anyway, let's say anyone can go buy Dead by Daylight and play it right now. This is not sponsored at all, although it seems it. However, anyone can download Pokemon Go, but can they really play it? You know what I mean? Like, let's say, I know there's a lot of people who unfortunately are like in wheelchairs or have been paralyzed, or, you know, have other sorts of accessibility issues. And it's just unfair that they can't play the game to the same level. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in a wheelchair, there's a lot of areas that you can't go to. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like places that aren't built for those to go, like going over grass, going over areas that haven't had ramps installed. So it makes it so this game instantly becomes like less inclusive. However, now I have seen like plenty of communities make a real effort to include these people, and I love that. And I think at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Like, Pokemon Go, the number one thing about Pokemon Go is it is at the end all about connecting people. The fact that it relates to the real world, it is about connecting people. So I'd love to see the communities engaging and making sure all these people are, you know, built in. However, there's some people who this isn't even possible for. You know, some people are bedridden. I was bedridden for a while. I guess not really fully bedridden, but like when I was undergoing chemotherapy, like that was like a hard time for me to get out, and I had different accessibility issues. Like, I couldn't go interact in large groups, so playing downtown was just not like a thing for me. So that is a reason on why people spoof, is because let's say you're stuck in the hospital for the next 6 months, you're not really playing Pokemon Go. Like, the hospitals have pretty good spawns and you can play around there, but like, if people want to get a good experience out of the game, they spoof to New York, they spoof to Tokyo, they spoof to wherever. So it creates this, like, you know, this idea that like Pokemon Go is not fair for me, so I'm just gonna make it fair by cheating. You know what I mean? Again, it's a reason on why people spoof. Do I think it's a reason on why you should spoof? No, because at the end of the day, again, it always goes back for me to like your values and what you value in life. And I think the second you cheat in a game and you play unfairly, like you value unfair. You value, you know, like not playing by the rules, I guess. You know what I mean? And like, I guess like, are rules meant to be broken? Maybe, I don't know. That's a whole other concept. But like, yeah. This is a really hard one to talk about, to be honest, because like I feel like personally I can't really have an opinion on it because I don't really know what it's like. Like, if there's any of you guys who have experienced this, like, let me know your perspective on it. Again, at the end of the day, I do not think you should spoof, but also I could see why people would spoof, and I could understand. And it is like, I guess I don't want to say a valid reason, but like, you know, anyone with a little empathy can understand why somebody who, you know, lost both legs or something like that would take on that kind of play style, I guess you could say. I do think there's like, again, it's going to depend on situation, but I do think it's also very good if somebody who is in that situation can get out and go to these meetups. Not only think it's really healthy for your mental health to go outside and interact with people, but it's also just good to get fresh air, all that stuff. But yeah, that's like a reason why people spoof. I don't think I can really have a crazy opinion on this one because I've never experienced it, so I don't know what it's like. But I understand why people do it. So I'm going to change location now because we have one more reason on why people spoof, and this is a reason I don't think is a valid reason on cheating. This is crazy right now. Okay, let's move. My legs hurt. Okay. What were we talking about? Spoofing? Yeah, we're talking about spoofing. Okay, the final reason on why people spoof, or so I've heard, or I guess it kind of just like encapsulates. Sorry, let me just fix this. Chat. Let me fix that. It kind of just encapsulates, I guess, the last reasons, and it's the reason I don't think you should spoof. It's just pure laziness. If you don't have, if you're not in a rural area, if you are not in an area where it's dangerous, temperature-based to play, or you have accessibility issues, and you can go play Pokemon Go, you just don't want to play Pokemon Go in the way that it was created to be, just go play the main series Pokemon games. Do not cheat, in my opinion. If there is no reason on why you think you have to cheat, again, at the end of the day, don't cheat overall. But the number one thing that I think, I don't want to say like pisses me off, but like frustrates me is like, you can play Pokemon Go. You have this, this guy's about to throw a Frisbee at me. You have like, you've been blessed with none of these issues, and you grew up in a country where there's none of these issues, and you're very much able to play the game, but you're just too lazy to play the game. I don't think you should cheat at all for that reason. And honestly, like, this is, I guess, the one situation where I would literally call people out if they were cheating. Probably if you were like very much able to play the game, but you don't want to play the way it's meant to play. Because again, at the end of the day, like, what makes Pokemon Go special is the fact that it is a game where you have to go outside and you have to get on your feet and you have to walk around. You know what I mean? So like, that is what makes the game special. If you do not want to take advantage of what makes that game special, again, there's a bunch of other Pokemon Go games. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, in my opinion, that's a big reason on why you shouldn't cheat. So let's get into thoughts. Those are the main three reasons from what I've understood. There's maybe other reasons on why people cheat, but let me get into my thoughts. So the number one thing here is, again, I'm going to go back to it, but I'm never really going to blame cheaters for cheating. Well, I'm going to blame cheaters for cheating, but I'm going to more point my fingers at Scopely, at Pokemon Go, because again, going back to it, most of these, like a lot of people cheat because they're in rural areas. They cheat because there's, like, the play area is not good enough. So if Niantic were to be able to add more Pokestops, add more spawns, one big one that's always suggested is, like, if you could choose your event time for people who are in cities where the temperature gets really hot or cold during the day or whatever, like, if you could choose to have, like, your community day from, like, let's say 5 to 8 instead, when the temperature has cooled down and it's easier to go play outside and play the event, like, that would be an amazing feature that could help prevent cheaters, because people wouldn't feel like they have to go, spoof to play the game, because they can actually go outside and it's not too hot and they can choose when they want to play the game. So there's thousands of different ideas. If you guys have ideas, let me know in the comment section below. I don't mind passing them on to Niantic. I actually have if you ever have an idea, by the way, to update Pokemon Go or make it better, I have a channel in my Discord called Pogo Improvements. Drop them in there. I read every single suggestion and I pass them all on to Pokemon Go. So if you have any things that you think would be a good update idea, then yeah, let me know, join the Discord. But anyway, so yeah, that is number one. I think the number one way that they could solve cheating overall in Pokemon Go. My honest thoughts on it, I guess, like, what am I trying to say right now? But I already talked about this. I try to have notes on what I'm talking about, but sometimes I skip over them. I completely forgot to mention, by the way, Trainer Club did get, the one reason on why I brought up this whole idea is the Trainer Club recently did get banned temporarily for a week. And I talked to him about it, and pretty much he got on a flight and then he used the flight Wi-Fi while he was flying, and the game thought he was cheating. So again, like, the game, it all goes back to, like, I think Scopely needs to do two things. Number one, they need to, and I hope they do this. Number one, solve the core issues on why people cheat by updating rural areas, letting you choose, like add those updates, because that will reduce the amount of cheaters. And the people who are still cheating, improve your bloody software. I don't want to sound like a UK man right now, but improve your software to prevent cheaters from cheating. I feel like there's so many people who still cheat in the game, and they are just not able to catch them. They're just not able to catch them at all. So if they were to do that, I think that would be the #1 way to overall prevent, I guess, cheating in Pokemon Go. Now, I do want to say this right now. #1 thing I want to say is, if you are a cheater, okay, again, I'm not going to go around and call people, I do not think you should cheat, but it's not my responsibility. It's like Trainer Club says, not my responsibility to go tell people to stop cheating. However, if you are a cheater, what it starts to piss me off a little is when you are interacting with the game in a way that, again, is not, like, I think there's 2 types of cheaters in the game. There's #1, you have the cheaters that just go about their day, they go to New York, they catch their Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. But then you have the cheaters that go out of their way to interact with people from different local areas when they wouldn't normally be there. So for example, dropping into showcases and winning showcases by cheating to the biggest Pokemon, catching it, and then going to little Timbuktu town and being like, I'm just gonna snipe this showcase every week because I know I'm always gonna have the biggest Pokemon because these local players don't. Or going and sniping gyms, or, what is this bug is all on me right now? Going and sniping gyms. Those are like the two main ways of interacting. Going into raids, I guess raiding isn't as bad. Like there's been plenty of situations where, you know, spoofers will jump into raids. And I guess the more people you have for raids, you know, it never hurts. But like going and bothering other local players, that's when it really gets frustrating. Again, don't cheat overall, but if we're gonna start ranking how bad it is to cheat, that is when it is really bad and really, really frustrating. So I would really never do that. So yeah, that's kind of like overall my thoughts, I guess I should say, on cheating. I don't know if I have much else to go into. One thing I do want to really talk about, first of all, a quick segment. I just want to say a lot of people have been giving me feedback about the Japan trip. If you haven't heard, I'm sure you have seen, I've talked about it a lot. We're going to Japan in November. However, from what I've understood is a lot of people are not able to get time off because this trip is so like short notice. However, there's a lot of people who are interested in coming on the trip. So I just want to pass this off to you guys. If you guys have been a long-time listener and you've wanted to go to Japan or just on a trip to anywhere, I'm thinking of planning 2 trips for next year very soon so people have the time to plan and get the time off. So if you are interested in coming on a potential trip in 2026 I'm thinking doing one in Japan and one in South Korea. But if there's any areas you want to go to, let me know in the comment section below. But let me know when you have time off in next year so I can decide when I'm going to plan the trip for anybody who's interested in potentially coming. Anyway, that's all I'll talk about for that. But if you're interested, I would love to go on a trip with you potentially next year. But what I actually wanted to say, what I wanted to say after this, is talk about why am I blanking so hard right now? Is talk about a recent update that was added to Pokemon Go, or that was mentioned by the Community Ambassador Program, in which they clarified a lot of things that we didn't know whether it was cheating or not. Because I think going back to the terms of service, if we cycle back, there's a lot of gray area in it. You know, they include the word is included but not exclusive to, or something like that, where it's like, this stuff is cheating, but there could be more that is also cheating that we just don't know. So they added to that. There was a glitch that you could do, that you could go to a raid that's like, I think it was like about 100 meters away. And normally you'd have to use a remote raid pass for it, but you could use a green local pass to do it. So that was confirmed by Niantic that is against the terms of service. That is cheating. That is falsifying your GPS location. They also updated a couple other things that I forget that were cheating, that shouldn't be done. However, this kind of frustrated me when they updated this. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Is that it feels like Scopely or Pokemon Go sometimes does not take the blame for the things that are in their game and does not take, I guess, accountability for the glitches in their game. And instead, they throw it on the players. And this is something that frustrates me a lot. when they came out with this and were like, hey, if you're using this glitch, you're cheating. I was like, are you kidding me? It is not the player's responsibility to figure out in the game what features they can use and what features they can't, and what's going to get them banned. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but it's not up to the player. It's not the player's responsibility to be like, okay, wait, what can I do in this game and what can't I so I don't get banned? Now, obviously, doing this glitch, and there's a lot of glitches in Pokemon Go that, like, you kind of have to go out of your way to do them, and, like, the odds of somebody just randomly doing that glitch is pretty low. But at the end of the day, it is Niantic, it is Scopely, it is Pokemon Go's responsibility, this is starting to become a rant, to solve these issues. If you don't want players doing it, patch the glitch. Patch the glitch. Do not blame people, do not start banning people for doing something in-game that is possible to be done in-game without any external software, without any, we're not talking about spoofing here. We're not talking about using extra apps and all that stuff. They're literally not adding anything to the game, and you're gonna ban them for that. So it really frustrates me that, and I do not think that is a good way to go at it. I think Scopely and Pokemon Go need to update they need to do two things. Number one, they either need to do, what they're doing right now, which is clarify, like, the terms of service in Pokemon Go, in my opinion, I feel like I'm getting so riled up right now, they're so gray area. There's so much, like, you saw what I just said. They said that, like, this, and this is cheating. However, there could be more stuff that's cheating, but we just are not going to tell you. Like, that's not how they should do it. They should break it down and be like, okay, having 2 accounts is cheating. Spoofing is cheating. Using this glitch is cheating. Playing on your account on 2 phones at the same time is cheating. Like, what is cheating and what isn't? They should very clearly state what is and what isn't. And then they should go through that list and they should solve the glitches that people are using, or like things that they can solve. Like, for example, the remote raid pass snap into a local raid that's like a little, like, it's a remote raid, but you can use a green pass. Like, that is a glitch in game that they could solve. You know what I mean? Like, they should solve that. It's not the player's fault. So I think there's just a lot of, like, I don't want to say blaming, but if you're starting to ban people for not using external software, not doing anything that has been stated on the terms of service as cheating, and then you're banning them for it, that is just completely unfair, because a new player could come to the game and, potentially in a blue moon accidentally do this and they get banned and be like, what did I do? I just started playing this game and I'm getting banned. I read the terms of service. I didn't do anything against the terms of service. Like, I don't know. Anyway, that's like kind of my rant at the end. I think the anti-cheat should be better, and there should be clear what is cheating and what isn't. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about cheating in Pokemon Go. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please feel free to comment below your thoughts on cheating. Again, keep an open mind. Let's have an open discussion. I think these types of discussions can sometimes just become a you're stupid, you're dumb, don't cheat, blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't want to, like, first of all, never call someone stupid or dumb. I don't think that is a very nice thing to say at all. But I think it's important to have an open perspective, even if you don't agree. You guys can agree to disagree in the comments, but don't call anybody stupid for cheating and all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, like, again, you got to understand why. Why do people do it, and how do we solve the issue on why people do it? Because at the end of the day, like, obviously reality is reality and what it is, and the world is never going to be fair, but I hope that Pokemon Go continues to work towards making a fair player base, a fair map for everybody, a fair gameplay experience for everybody, in which people don't even feel the need to cheat. Because if the need to cheat is gone, like, for example, Fortnite, there's a lot of people who don't even cheat because they don't feel the need to cheat, because the game doesn't have a lot of bugs. They get matched up with people that are near their skill level. So if we can eliminate the need to cheat in Pokemon Go, it'll never be an issue, and the game will be way, way better off for it. So I hope that Pokemon Go continues to work on that. But nonetheless, guys, that is the YAP session. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We're going to be back next week. I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week, so I'll figure that out when we get there. But if there's anything you want to hear me yap about, feel free to comment below. I always read every single comment on the sessions. And yeah, hit the link below if you want to join the Japan trip in November. We'll catch you all next Friday. Peace.